Hi guys, welcome back. Today is another beautiful day, and we're going to be analyzing another business model. I don't have any presentation prepared today, and it is going to be an informal way of talking about a business, and we're going to be analyzing a very simple business model. Okay, so we're going to be analyzing Relaxo Footwear. I'm pretty sure most of you all would have heard about it. So you would have seen that this Relaxo Footwear, this business has created a lot of wealth for shareholders, and all of a sudden, I think over a decade, it has been a really good business, and all of a sudden you see that the company has fallen, and there is a narrative around it. There's a really terrible narrative around it. Why is that so? Like, what has happened, that the entire wealth that they have been creating for all these years could just be destroyed in the last 2 years. So what has happened? So let us just understand first, what does Relaxo do, right? Simple ka fund hai. Relaxo sirf chappal or shoe banata hai, right? Simple sa business model. And what do they do even in chappals and shoes? There are two types, एक है closed footwear, एक है open footwear. Closed footwear जो वो होता है in which your toes are getting covered. Okay, those are closed footwear, and that is shoes. And they make these shoes called Sparks. I don't know if you all have heard about this brand. They come in a lot of TV like advertisements. So they make Sparks, right? And the second thing they make is the open shoe ka chappal. That is your Hawaii chappal that you and me wear every time when we go out. So that is that, right? Open shoe and closed shoe. Now the unique thing about this is all of these chappals were catering below 1,000 rupees range. That is one thing, right? And the unique selling point of this entire business model they was the fact that it was very affordable for a lot of people, and again great quality and very affordability, and it was the entire volume game was playing on here. Now what happened, like all of a sudden, that this what happened, what went wrong with the business here? So we have to like go back, like thoda piche jana padega in the past and just look at the 2021 and 2022. In 2021, what happened? There was a GST increase. Like the government of India came and they changed the regulatory for footwear industry. They told, listen, you've been paying 5% GST until now, and we have to increase the GST from 5% to 12%. That is one thing. Okay. The second thing what happened was we were coming out of so this happened one. The second thing was we're coming right out of COVID, right? And that time the prices of rubber, that is the main raw material for your shoes, that increased. So the price of raw material went from whatever it was, I think 60 rupees per kg for natural rubber, it went all of a sudden 3x to 10, 240, like it went 3x 4x, the rubber price went. Now combine both of these things, right? एक होगा आपका GST और एक होगा आपका raw material का price. Because of both of things, of course, right, your cost of material to make that 500 rupees chappal has increased, and because of this your margins get squeezed. Why? Because you can't even take a price hike. Now think about it, why you can't take a price hike. If you were buying a shoe, let's say from Crocs, right, you're already paying 4,000 rupees for one pair of shoes, and let's say Crocs comes tomorrow because of the same situation and increase the price to 4,500. Do you really think a person who's paying already 4,000 rupees, if 4,500 ka increase hua, do you really think this person really cares, or he'll really fret a sweat? He won't. He or she won't, right? But a person who is paying 200 rupees ka price to buy a Hawaii chappal, and you increase the price to 250, of course it will pinch that person. That's like a 25% increase for him, right? So of course it will pinch that person. As a result, because of the customer category they were catering to, they couldn't take the price increase, and combine these two situations by not taking the price increase, it really hit them. So that is what happened. That is what happened in Q1 and Q2, and they were really suffering. And as you saw, the volumes really the volumes really slacked, right? The number of pairs that they were selling, it really slacked. The second thing that happened was, as you know, this inventory का जो changes होता है, the raw material का price increase होता है, again it increases, it decreases, it is a cycle, right? So what happened? They bought excess of inventories because they couldn't keep up. They bought excess of inventories, and now when the raw material price came down, they were still left with high inventories, and as a result, जब वो inventory भी नीचे आ गया था, like they couldn't take that benefit of that. Inventory goes down, but you have taken a price increase. Because of that, the margin expansion you'll get, they couldn't even take advantage of that also. So in Q3 they had this high inventory losses, right? As a result, again they suffered in Q3. Now let us come back to the present right now. What has happened? What has happened? What is currently happening here? And what is happening with the business in Q4? You would have seen in Q4, right? The revenue has improved a little bit. There is a little bit of profitability that can be seen, and also you will see the fact that the margins, the EBITDA margins also has improved. Now, is this really sustainable? What is happening? First thing first, if I'm a company, right, and if I'm a company, let's say I'm investing in a company, I want that company to make more money by selling more things. That is what you call as volume growth. Here what has happened, they didn't even sell whatever the expansion of margin, revenue, profits, any metric you see, that came because jo inventory ka, I told you, they couldn't take advantage in Q3, they got that advantage in Q4. That is number one. The second thing is, the price increase what they took, no people were buying that chappal, because ये 250 का chappal जो होता है, you're making increasing the price, people will obviously find alternative for that, because there are many alternatives for unorganized players. So people, instead of buying Relaxo, they were buying the other chappal. They realized that because they were increased the price, nobody is buying the chappal, they reduced the price again. They took a reverse price hike, like whatever the price increase they did, they reversed the price hike that they did, right? So because of that, the number of pairs improved, the number of chappals that they were selling, they improved. In fact, if you see this quarter also, right, the number of pairs that they've sold compared to last quarter has decreased. In fact, the number of pairs of shoes that they've sold has not at all increased. That is number one thing. It's a big red flag for me. And the second, they have taken a reverse reverse in their price hike. It shows you that there is no volume growth as well as value growth. And again, coming back to the point that this company doesn't have a pricing power, right? And if I just have to go into numbers in detail, you would see that the volumes of chappal that they sold in the same time, like last year, if you would have seen, they were selling around 19.1 crores, 20 crores, like in the peak time in November 2020. In November 2020 and 2021, they were selling around 19.1 crore, 19.1 pairs, like crores of pairs of shoes. And today, at the same time, they're hardly selling somewhere in the range of 4.5 to 5.4 crore pairs. Like that's a huge gap. That's like a very huge gap, right? So just because you see the numbers, you see it still hasn't come back to the old past days. So that's one thing, right? And now let's just talk about this. Everybody talks about valuations and things, let me just highlight this. Like, first of all, on parameters, I'll just go through the checklist parameters. I will check for growth. Growth mein volume growth nahi hai. You would have seen that volume growth kata hai compared to last year's, right? Like I told you, from 19.1 crore pair to hardly 4.5 to 5.4 crore pairs. That's one thing. Second thing, growth ka other parameter is value. There is not even value growth, because like I told you, the margin expansion that came and the people were buying at least a little bit, sales has improved because they reversed the price hike. Isliye unka sales abhi बढ़ रहा है. So there is no value growth. There is no pricing power, right? That is also there. The third thing I would like to highlight here is the ROE ka matter aata hai. Earlier during the glory days, the ROE was at 19.8%. Literally north of 15 to 20%, it was in that range. Right now you come and you see the ROE is 8.2%. Why is that? See, because ROE has three components: financial leverage, asset turnover, and your margins, right? आपका asset turnover नहीं आ रहा है, the more number of volumes you sell, you're going to have an asset turnover. And the second thing is, you talk about margins will come because of what? Price increase. दोनों भी नहीं हो रहा है. As a result, the ROE has also fallen down, and because of this, you would have seen the earnings also has fallen down, and the P is also inflated right now. So why would I pay something like that is hardly growing at less than 10% CAGR, less than 10% on a growth? Why would I pay like 140 P, right? It doesn't really make sense. So this is a good thing, like the business, I mean right now the business is still struggling to make some changes. So that's one thing. So again, just to conclude off everything, it is just a very good lesson for us at the end of the day. Something that has been a multi-bagger in the past doesn't mean it will continue to be a multi-bagger also later in the future, right? So this is why it becomes very, very important for us to keep tracking the business. Your money always has to be in those businesses that are performing, only in the performing businesses. This is how you chase the ultimate, this is how you chase growth, right? The second thing is also, we need to stop going behind this glorifying names. Just because something, like I told you, we have glorified certain businesses because it made wealth to a lot of investors in the past, but that doesn't mean it will continue making wealth for us in the future, right? This is why, again, coming back to my first point, we need to track the business. And another thing also to note down is like the fact that any good businesses can also turn bad because of a slight pinch that happens, slight pinch or changes in economy, and any bad business also can turn good. So again, combine all the 3 points. Like I reiterate every single time, it becomes very important. Track the business, always track the business. Even though it is a very simple business model, you would have seen, track the business, keep your money always in that place, in those businesses that has growth, that has demand in the future, not in places, where it is a dying market. So that is one thing, right? So having said that, I hope I could explain the business model in ease and what is happening here, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.